All right, welcome to week 3 of the Texas League podcast, where we're here to talk about a little bit of fantasy football. Uh, I just want to give a shout out to my co-host, Mr. Caldwell. He has a very unique background this
No,
week.
ain't
We're
nothing
gonna
unique about it. I lost a bet. A deal's a deal. I mean, I gotta take it on the chin. I lost. It is what it is. I shouldn't open my damn mouth and put the bet out there. But you know what? I thought I was feeling froggy, so it is what it is.
Well, we gonna get back to that because this might be the longest episode we ever recorded, just so I can get as much of you in front of that beautiful background as I can for
Okay.
posterity. But before
And you
we
know what?
get
It might,
into
it might
that,
be like a PlayStation. I might lose internet connection. I'm just saying.
ah, all right, Jared, what's our kickoff question this week?
You know what? I had one in mind, but something happened at work, so I'm gonna change it on the fly. What are you gentlemen's take on vetoing trades in fantasy leagues?
We talked about this last year, but I just want to reiterate. I do not think that trades should be allowed to be vetoed by vote. I think that commissioners should have the ability to veto an obviously lopsided trade, but I don't think it should be voted because what I found in leagues where we've had that option, people will veto a trade that's fair, right? Like
Yeah.
people will just veto just because they hating on the other two teams for trying to get better. So I do think there are times where a complete like because I've seen this try to happen before. You know, a guy that's not going to make the playoffs at the trade deadline is going to trade away a couple of his
Mhm.
best players to
Yeah.
one of the teams that's obviously headed towards the playoffs. Nah, we're not doing that. We're not going for no collusion over here. So I think that to protect the integrity of the league, that a commissioner should be able to stop an obviously lopsided trade, but not by vote by the whole group.
Yeah, I agree. Debo said it the best. I'm like, no, absolutely not by vote. And I agree. If it's clearly that egregious and the commissioner's paying attention, which luckily we have a great commissioner who does pay attention. Yeah, no, I agree. No, this should not be done by vote because the Dwayne's point, I'm like, if I was to see something by vote, I'd be like, oh, hell no, I gotta play them next week. I don't want to play against that cat. No, I'm good. I'm voting no.
And I didn't even think about that because yeah. Oh wait, so let me get this straight. You about to give this dude Jonathan Taylor and Jamar Chase the week before I play him? Hell no. What about you,
Yeah,
Jimmy?
that is part of the like I don't obviously we don't have vetoes in our league. I kind of review all the trades and say, okay, yeah. But like for those not I sent a message earlier. Everyone watching this probably it's not gonna see that. Jonathan Taylor was traded for DJ Moore and Romeo Dobbs. And I said, huh? Somebody else literally put in the group chat, WTF. Only
Yeah.
and this is because this group chat is a work league, so it was on the company team's message. So that's probably why they just put WTF and not what she really wanted to say.
Right.
I'm
That's
like,
interesting. I mean, I would have
uh,
been happy with that trade if I got Jonathan Taylor, but I mean,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, and what I said to that was without having the full rosters of both of the teams,
hmm,
it's kind of hard to say if it was a really bad trade, right? Like on face, it does not seem like you're getting the value back for Jonathan Taylor in those two receivers. But I also was like, it could be a situation where this guy happened to have two other good running backs and he's really, really weak at wide receiver. Again, like last season, right? I had Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, and Josh Jacobs. So if I would have traded one of the three of them away for a couple of wide receivers, then that would make sense. But if Jonathan Taylor is his only top level running back, it makes no sense. You're not getting back the value.
The thing is this: I pulled up the guy's roster. He has Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor, but you have nothing else on your team. I'm not giving away the only pieces I got to get them back.
Oh no. No, in that case, no. If his only other running back is Saquon, no.
Yeah, so
And
that's
the
why
funny thing is, I happen to have both of those running backs in this league, so I know what value, and they were my keepers this year, so I know what value those two running
uh,
backs have.
his other running backs are Travion Henderson, J.K. Dobbins, and Bashal Tootin. Yep, none of those guys say so I
No,
want to start.
no,
Hmm.
those are break glass in case of emergency. Even
Yes.
Dobbins in a new place, can he have a game every now
Flex
and then where
worthy.
he's gonna, yeah, flex worthy in the right matchup? But he is not a start every week running back this year. He's just not. So no, I wouldn't have made that trade.
This dude who's making all these trades, he is out here he is trying to, I respect it because he sent me a trade offer that I'm about to reject here in a second, but that's no, I'm just going to say just for clarity, with him acquiring Mr. Taylor, his roster is going to have Lamar Jackson, B. John Robinson, James Conner, Jonathan Taylor, Trey McBride. Really? So he has all of those players?
Yeah, I wouldn't have made that trade. If
Yeah,
I was
like
the
you
team
got
with
to look
Jonathan
long.
Taylor, I wouldn't have made that trade.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing.
But yeah, I'm with you
So
on that. All right. Good kickoff. So there, and just just to put a cherry on that whole situation, there's nothing wrong with trades. Like I think sometimes in leagues people get so fearful of making a trade, but there's too many tools out there that you can use to analyze. If you don't have enough knowledge, you don't trust your own gut on making a trade. There's too many tools out there that you have the ability to use, some paid, some free. There's enough Twitter. There's you can post it on Twitter and get some feedback if you're really not sure. But
Hmm.
yeah, you should definitely, if you think your team can get better, make a trade. If you can't, get somebody through free agency, make a trade, make your team better. Don't be scared, but don't let nobody bend you over in the trade either. Pause. All right. So 2 weeks into the NFL season, 2 weeks into the fantasy season, I like to ask a general NFL question each week. So my question this week is this. Are there any healthy quarterbacks left in the NFL at this point in the season?
I mean,
Like,
Herbert looks pretty healthy. I'm just saying. I mean,
Justin Herbert looked damn healthy. Uh, not perfect.
uh,
Let's be real.
no, of course not.
Not perfect, but he looked pretty good. I would say this. His legs looked really good against the
Yeah,
Raiders. He
so
was,
far.
especially in the first quarter, in the first half,
so
I'll say he was rolling out the pocket, and moving the chains. Hit Quincy, what's that boy's name? Johnson, for a
Yeah,
60-yard touchdown on the
that
fly. That
was.
was a great throw. That was a hell of a throw. So I'll say that, but we have a few really good quarterbacks that are out indefinitely or potentially out for the rest of the season. And I think that the biggest name on that list right now has got to be Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
Uh,
but it's not his first time this early in the
glass
season. If you remember a few
glass
years
Joe.
ago,
yeah.
first week
So,
against the Chargers, he got
yep.
out for the season. I just don't know why I remember it. It was a Charger game I was watching. But
Was that year three of his career?
year 2 or 3, yeah, it was
Okay.
early.
Okay. Yeah. So here's my question to in regards to that. Have the Bengals put too much of their money in the wrong place?
Ooh. I don't want to say too much money in the wrong place, but I think they could have diversified slightly better. I mean, yeah, I mean, look, Jamar Chase, he deserves money. Um, what's his nuts? The wide receivers deserve their money.
I'm going to push
Burrow
back on
deserves
T.
money,
Higgins.
but
I'm going to push back on T. Higgins.
okay.
I appreciate the chemistry between Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, but if you had to choose between using that money on T. Higgins or actually going out and finding a reliable left tackle to protect your $200 million
That's fair.
quarterback, it
Okay, I can
shouldn't even
respect
be
that.
a question. It shouldn't
Hmm.
even be like again, T. Higgins. And the way he's not saying it is because as a person who's had T. Higgins on his fantasy team a couple of times over the last few years, I am familiar with his ebbs and flows, with his inconsistencies in his performance. So I think that money probably could have been spent elsewhere. I mean, even from the sense of if you look at, I'm trying, and I'm blanking on the name of the DN that was holding out that they finally paid like 2 days before the season started. Is it
Trey
Hendrickson?
Hendrickson.
Hendrickson, right? I think you could have gotten some pieces for him. He's obviously disgruntled. Looking at the way the market got set for defensive ends, he didn't get the long-term deal that he wanted, but he got a big pay bump for this season. But I definitely think that with this injury to Joe Burrow, his days are numbered because they know they have got to spend some money on that offensive line. And since they just paid T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, they're not going to pay him. They have to upgrade that line.
Unless they say he'll restructure.
This man's going to be a free agent. So it's either franchise or long-term deal. And with the market where it is on elite edge rushers now, they can't afford to pay him. And they can't afford to pay him and upgrade the line. It really shouldn't even be a question with Joe Burrow getting, and even the year where he wasn't injured, he was one of the most sacked QBs in the league. So something's got to change in that respect. Jaden Daniels is out for an indeterminate amount of time, so Marcus Mariota stepping in for him. We got injuries to who else is out now? Is Brock Purdy, I believe, is still out indefinitely. Even young JJ McCarthy, I believe, is also out for an indeterminate amount of time. So, I mean,
who is Minnesota's backup?
I believe it's Carson Wentz.
Oh shit! Okay,
I do believe it is Carson Wentz. So yeah, I mean, even if you look at the Cleveland Browns, Flacco is essentially a backup because if Deshaun was healthy, Deshaun would be the starter. So it's just
we forgot one. Well, I don't know. Did you mention Justin Fields?
Oh no!
That's right.
I forgot Justin Fields is hurt. So yeah, so.
What the hell's quarterback in freaking the Jets then?
Oh, that's
Tyrod
Taylor.
Oh, is he?
Tyrod Taylor getting the start this weekend.
Hey, don't let the medical staff hit him in the chest with a needle.
Boy, y'all ruined that man's life. Y'all know y'all be ashamed of yourselves.
I ain't do it, man.
Y'all be ashamed of yourselves.
But hey, Herbert came out on fire, so.
I mean, but it's a sucky way to get your shot.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
It is.
Put that man in the damn cardiac arrest before kickoff. Had to hit that man with the jumper cables just to get him straight.
I like it.
Shout out to Tyrod Taylor, though. But yeah, man. So we see a lot of injuries. I mean, just if you think about some of the usual suspects, how long before we see Tua's back up on the field? Just with his injury.
Skylar Thompson? No, Skylar Thompson went to Pittsburgh. Who the hell is his backup?
Who knows? Who knows? But I guarantee you, the Dolphins fans probably at this point wouldn't mind seeing what the backup can do, no matter who it is.
I'm about to look right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let us know who it is.
Oh, Zach Wilson.
Okay, maybe Tua can.
And then Quinn Ewers after that. So it's like,
God, dog. Let's get this. So yeah, all right. So yeah, so it's gonna be a whole bunch of NFL backup QBs this weekend. Now, but let's see, what's the Thursday night game this week?
Dolphins.
Yes, the Dolphins and the Bills. So Josh Allen left his game on Sunday, but apparently he's going to be playing through the nose injury and have a visor on his helmet to protect the delicate schnoz. So shout out to Bills Mafia trying to keep the Dolphins on their current losing streak. I have a feeling that we'll be taking bets on the over-under on Mike McDaniel's tenure as the coach after they fall to 0-3 after Thursday night's game. All right, so let's get to the main thing that we're here to talk about, which is the good old Texas League and week 2, our rivalry week. I really hate that word.
We might have lost the battle, but we won the war. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, well, since you want to go there, let's start with the battle of the co-hosts. Devastator versus Math is King. So now, for those of you who are familiar with our league and our podcast, you know that uh, Dr. Deuce and I are both fans of rivalry teams in the AFC West. He being a Chargers fan, myself being a Raiders fan. We have a standard bet each year where our fantasy teams face off either once or twice during the regular season, and it coincides with the weeks that our favorite teams play each other. So this year, and for about the last 12 or 13 years, our standard bet has been involving the placement of your rival team's logo on your Twitter profile for it started off as just 48 hours, then it went to 72 hours, and now it's a week. So when the Raiders if you notice, there are times on both of our backgrounds where you will see our teams. And so, in accordance with our bet, since the Chargers were victorious on Monday Night Football, my current Twitter handle has a Chargers logo. But in my petty fashion, of course, I had to make sure that I added this score to the logo as a part of it. Because I can't just let Dr. Deuce win all the way. That would be uncivilized. But I will say that I did get a secondary victory because right at the end of last week's show, Dr. Deuce decided to issue a secondary challenge that, for the record, I tried to talk him out of.
You did.
He challenged and said that the winner of this game, our actual fantasy matchup, would have to put his rival's logo in the background. Thus, you get the beautiful, beautiful silver and black behind the Chargers fan this week. As Devastator was victorious, thanks to superb performances by Jonathan Taylor and Dak Prescott finally hooking up with his new receiver in George Pickens. So thank you for the stat. But the big surprise was this boy Malik Neighbors, who had not one but two bonus touchdown catches this weekend against the Cowboys. Although the Giants did lose, Russell Wilson put up some great numbers, especially to Malik Neighbors. Now, what hurts my heart in this game is my piss poor play from my tight end. If you know me, you know tight end is basically I think that the tight end is the most versatile position in NFL on offense. So seeing a player like Mark Andrews get me less than a point made me very sad. But I'll let Dr. Deuce talk about his disappointing performance from his roster and why he got thoroughly walloped this week.
Well, I think it's no question as to what happened. I lost by, a few points. And but a few 60, 61 points something. Whatever, pretty close. But Derrick Henry getting a whopping 2.3 points was it was let down. But truth be told, even if I put people in from the bench, I wasn't coming nowhere near 148.3 points. That was just out of the ballpark for me.
Oh yeah, Baker. Baker didn't outperform Patrick, and then Nick Chubb would have only.
Nick Chubb, they would have gave me maybe 10, 12 extra points, but then I'd have broke 90 and saved face maybe, but that's about it.
Yeah. So, but I will say that
it was a thorough butt whooping, hands down, across the board, thorough butt whooping. I got to tap my hat off to you. That's why I got this gaudy, stupid thing behind my face. But
I was going to be real petty and play the autumn wind while we talked about this game in the background. But
here we go.
But YouTube be tripping on copyright stuff. So, and I definitely don't want them taking this off the the audio out of this performance. So, because people need to hear you talk about getting that ass whooped.
And you know what? Actually, to save this picture, I got to say this dumbass Raiders just so I can find it.
Well, all right then. But it was a good victory for us in week 2. And so I got my first win of the season, which felt really good for me. Now, let us go to our other co-host who was actually facing off against family this week and our current reigning champion. And last week, he declared that he really, really, really wanted to put a whooping on his cousin to get his first win of the year. Dr. Deuce, talk about our victorious commissioner.
Well, Ahmad St. Brown was a godsend for him. And Justin Herbert did what Justin Herbert does. He made some great selections. Maybe not Almiron Hamilton, but, we just Chargers, so we just trying to figure out our run game. So you know what? Shut up. But T. Higgins got a 15 points, and McClunkley didn't do as well as I'm sure his cousin hoped that he would. Sutton, I don't even know why he was even on the board. But, you know, I mean, I know I picked his cousin to win. So,
So did
hats
I
off to
actually.
you, Jared.
I actually
But
did. I am shocked by the poor performance of Cortland Sutton, especially facing off against the Colts. Like, looking at that matchup, I really expected Cortland to have a big game. Now, like you said, I did not see Detroit putting up 52 on
no.
Chicago. Like I believe we said last week that we knew after that loss and that poor performance by the offense against the Packers in week 1, we definitely expected Detroit's offense to come out and put up some points. I didn't see 52 coming.
No.
So,
I figured they want to showcase to their former offensive coordinator that we don't need you. We can still score some points. Week 1 was a fluke, but I didn't see 52 either. But you know what? I'll take it.
And
I'll
even
say
most of the
that.
people on your bench have some good points. So it's
Just
like,
You know
the
what I'm
whole
saying?
team just said, we're gonna show up this week. I'm gonna need to spread them
Indeed.
points around.
Indeed. So, shout out to that one. And let's see. Our next matchup. Now, I guess we learned once again for the second week in a row
stop going against
about
Meredith.
picking against Big Green. Deuce, talk about it, man.
I don't know why this isn't the first season. This ain't the last season, I'm sure, but love you too. But see, good night, buddy. So we just gotta trust Meredith that she know what she do because clearly she do. Chuba Hubbard did well. I mean, Tyreek Hill actually got some points, even though they got Tua. Good night, Princess. Even though they got Tua throwing or whatever damn direction that fool throwing, but I mean that double team he had with Tua and Hill did her well. I mean,
Yes, it did.
I
Shoot, that was
mean,
that.
but
That's
Josh Allen with only 10 points, I'm sure that was a shock. I know it was to me, especially against the
man,
Jets. But I
man,
mean,
He left early with like that nose injury we
right.
discussed earlier.
I mean,
man.
59
But
rushing yards and 148 passing yards, no touchdowns. So yeah, because he's
did
usually
you
good for a solid
see?
30.
So, did you see the passes that Brian Thomas was missing? Like they had somebody put together a whole highlight reel of his alligator arm, bad route
Is it
running.
is it
Like
a
it was
is that really a highlight or are we gonna call that a low
I
light?
would call it a
Low
low
light.
light reel, but yeah,
Okay.
like that was kind of piss poor. And yeah, and then also, of course, unfortunately, only one of the Eagles receivers was able to be victorious last week, and it was the receiver on my team, not the receiver on two boost two balls, one goals team. So AJ Brown still looking for his first good, decent output of the game. Now, what he'll say is that we're winning, but a guy like AJ Brown is not going to be happy with not getting the ball
Mm-mm.
or only getting the ball on these very short, like 5 catches, 27 yards. Like usually a 5 catch day for a wide receiver of his caliber, you're going to have at least 75 to
Yeah.
100 yards
Yeah.
if you caught the ball 5 times, right? So Eagles got to figure out their passing game, but as long as they're still winning games, they're gonna win any way they can. So shout out to Big Green, one of our only 2-0 teams. Well, I'm sorry, one of two only 2-0 teams. So let's talk about the other 2-0 team, which happens to be the man that she sleeps next to every night. Our boys over at Muff Divers. Jared, Muff Divers like running away with the scores in the weeks 1 and 2 so far.
Uh, you know, I'll say this. I believe that if Joe Burrow actually finishes that game, this was a much closer matchup. But if was a fifth, we'd be drinking right now. So we can't talk about the fact that he finished. Josh Allen didn't finish the game. Joe Burrow didn't finish the game. Like we said earlier, who's healthy at quarterback?
Man,
Because the rest
I,
of his, minus that damn one, was that what? Does that say 1.7 from the tight end?
it
Yeah.
What
does.
was, some of these tight ends decided they weren't going to show up. Well,
Now see, this
Tucker
is
Craft showed up.
Yeah, he
this
did.
is this is really surprising that Hawkinson only has 1 catch, right? With Addison out, you really only have two offensive weapons in the passing game. And Hawkinson has to be option number 2. Hell, even when Addison plays, Hawkinson and him are pretty much can be neck and neck on option 2 in that passing game up in Minnesota. So again, if Minnesota's going to win, they have to get him involved. Now, Carson Wentz, of course, is going to be playing this weekend, who's definitely more experienced than J.J. McCarthy. So he definitely is going to spread the ball around a little bit better. So I expect to see a little bit better production. DK Metcalf even, caught his first touchdown as a Steeler, but unfortunately, Seattle's defense showed up big. And I'm trying to remember, is that the game where the kickoff returner made the big gaffe, forgot that kickoffs that roll
Oh
into the end
yeah,
zone,
yeah, it
it's
was.
back to the old rule where if a kickoff goes into the end zone, it's still a live ball.
Hmm.
So oh boy, we're still thinking college rules. So that ended up being the difference in the game, basically, because they scored, stopped, scored again, and that was it. Steelers were playing from behind for the rest of that game. But shout out to Adam, currently sitting in first place, sitting at 2-0. All right. Now, let's go to our lowest scoring game of the week. The only game where neither opponent cracked 100 this weekend. Kirkwood versus Company Man. Now, of course, we know JJ McCarthy got hurt uh in the game. I think he finished the game, but he was obviously hurt. Like he played very poorly, and he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. But
It don't matter. Jalen Hurts scored 10 points.
right,
It wasn't like
right.
that was the reason he lost.
Right. So, and again, Gibbs with a decent showing. Like they have that dual running back set there, and both running backs did very well for Detroit. Both of them scored on the ground, both up close to 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. So, Alvin Kamara in a losing effort versus the 49ers, like he's basically their offense right now. Christian McCaffrey healthy, again, getting in the end zone through the air this week. I think he got in through the air and on the ground last week. But again, uh, very bad showing this week. Now, I think that he probably played Mayer because he wasn't sure that Brock Bowers was actually going to go. Uh, and also because Kittle was hurt. So he really didn't have any chance to pick anybody up late.
But
Um,
just think if he play Bo next and they win.
yep. Yep. So, I mean, we said that last week that we thought Bo was a better matchup when we looked at his roster last week. So
Mhm.
sometimes we know what we're talking about on here.
Every
But
now and then.
shout out to Kirkwood because here's the reality. You only need to win by point oh 0.01.
Yeah,
Everything
me,
else
me
is
and
just
Mr.
stock.
Cowan learned that one year, didn't we?
Yes, you did. So, all right. And then our last matchup of the week is between our champion from a couple of years ago, from Ed Corn and Hanging with Hernandez. So, one of the closer matchups again, only 10 points, around 10 points separating the two of them. And even though Geno Smith had a very poor showing, it's not like Kyler Murray burned things up, right?
Mhm.
So
I mean, that
here's the
29
difference
points by
maker.
Jamar Chase, though, was nice.
So he has held on to Jamar Chase since he's drafted him in this current version of the keeper league, and Jamar continues to put up points even with so I think the connection between him and the backup is the Chase Brown's the backup that's in there right now. Um, am I messing that boy's name? Was it Chase Brown or is it Browning?
Chase Brown's the running back. Browning is the
Wait,
quarterback.
Browning is the quarterback. Thank you. So Browning said, "Hey, let me follow Joe Burrow's lead. Let me throw the ball to Jamar Chase. That usually works out for us pretty good." And so Jamar's going to continue to do his thing. So after after week 2, we have some shifts in the percentages here. As Jared and I had 66%, Dr. Deuce only 50% last week. So we gained a little ground on him overall. So still in the lead for the season. Jared and I still tied for the season. But with that being said, we shall jump into our week 3 predictions. So let us start with Mathis King versus the Big Green.
Oh,
So, Jared, who do you like in this matchup?
you know, I think that I am gonna go with the Big Green because we just said that we are not going against him. Plus, I'm a Bucks fan. I don't like Mike Evans this week. I don't. Sauce Gardner has been picking the number one wide receiver, saying throw the ball elsewhere. So 2 weeks, and it's worked for 2 weeks. And I think that plus Mike Evans just hasn't been great, to be honest.
Man, I'll say this.
He getting the targets. He good for 5 catches and about 50 yards.
I'll say this for Mike. Will we finally see the 1,000-yard streak end this year? Because
No, I don't think we will.
They had Stingley on
so.
them. They had Stingley on them last week. Houston ended up getting the win. And I will say, Mike did draw one really good defensive pass interference that extended the drive once. So, it doesn't count on the stat sheet, but it did help his team. But yeah, I don't know, man. Mike.
I'll say this, and I might just be biased. We still get to play Carolina twice. That defense doesn't look good.
Yeah, but when you play bad teams, you usually try to control the clock and just run them down, run them to death. And you actually have two really good running backs on your roster. So,
but when you got that many 1,000-yard seasons and they know what's at stake, they're gonna get him the ball somewhere along the line. We got some teams out there. You know what? They are not. There are some teams that they're gonna do their best. He got it last year and he missed 4 or 5 games with injury. So Baker is gonna try his damnedest to get him the ball.
I mean, he's gonna do it because he's a great receiver, right?
Yeah.
But man, I don't know, man. It's hard to count against a player like Mike Evans when he's been doing it for as many years as he has. And just think that he's going to continue that either teams, or if we're really saying that this is it, like this is going to be one of those games where he's going to have to show improve, right? Like he's going to get the opportunity this week to show improve. But if he gets shut down by another one of these young cornerbacks again, man, it's kind of hard to be like, he may not be WR1 anymore. It happens to the best of them at some point. Man, so I'm just taking a look here at Tua's history versus the Bills, right? It ain't great. Just looking
just
back.
Hoping you don't get hurt during the game tomorrow night.
Here's why I actually like Marcus King this week. Even though we just talked about not picking against the Big Green, I am going to pick against her this week. Patrick Mahomes is getting the Giants, who give up for lack of a better term, shit ton of points to everybody, right? If you think that Patrick Mahomes is not going to, and with him and Kelsey are not going to go out there and get this first victory in New York against the Giants, you crazy. Like, I'm not even the betting man, but if I was going to bet, and I hate the Chiefs, that would be the bet that I make, or the pick I made in the Survivor League this weekend, is the Chiefs against the Giants. They're going to kill the Giants this weekend. Like, it may be a shootout because, again, the Chiefs defense is not what it was. Everybody runs on them. The pass defense doesn't create sacks. So, yeah. But I think in a high-scoring game, I got to go with the fact that Mahomes is going to put up some points. He's going to find Kelsey. Like you just said, when you have a receiver that's that reliable, you want to get them the ball. And Kelsey, with that drop that he batted the ball, it ended up being a turnover for the Eagles, which ultimately sealed the game for them. He wants to make up for that. So he's going to try to get in the end zone for the first time. And I would actually not be surprised if we see 2 touchdown combos from Mahomes to Kelsey. So I'm rolling with Marcus King this weekend.
Smartest thing you said so far today.
Well, just to make it official, are you picking against yourself, sir?
Well, I know we said we wouldn't go against Meredith, but come on, I'm playing against. There's no way in hell I'm going against myself. I don't give a damn if I was going to lose by a hundo. I ain't going against myself.
Well, just for posterity, we want to make sure that we keep everything above board.
Fair point. Right? Fair point.
All right. Kirkwood versus Super Mario Cristobalin. One coming off of a squeaky win, one coming off of a loss that they ain't going to be happy about. Jared, do you think your cousin bounces back this week?
Depends on who you got at quarterback.
That's what I was looking.
Let's take a look.
He has Jordan Love at quarterback against Cleveland.
Oh,
that's not a bad matchup.
no.
That is not a bad matchup.
Mm.
Not a bad matchup at
Maybe
all.
trade out Cortland Sutton.
You know, but
I don't know.
Cortland Sutton actually played a good game, but he kept getting pass interference calls, and so they basically said the Colts said beat us with somebody else,
And they
Bo,
did.
and Bo Nick said I'm like, I was watching on Rizzo. Adam Troutman, where'd he come from? Troy Franklin, who are he? You know what? I had to
Right.
go Google who are these guys. Okay,
Right.
right.
I remember you said that on the what was that on at the Bucks game? Whoever caught the first touchdown, you were like, "Well, I know that didn't help anybody. I don't even know who that guy is, and I'm a Bucks fan."
The hell is Ryan Miller? I had to Google. Oh, he wide receiver 5. We got that many hurt people. Oh, okay. Okay, Ryan Miller. I had to go Google this. I'm like, who the hell is Ryan Miller? Now I know. Okay. Oh man, I am looking at this, and the question becomes: do we believe that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles will finally get the passing game going? I don't. They're going to run the ball as usual. So with Jordan Love in the game, I believe my cousin will squeak out a victory. I don't think it's going to be a pretty one. I believe he squeaks one out, though.
I
I
agree.
believe B. John Robinson is going to have to run
That's
over the
exactly
Carolina.
these are the two reasons why I think that your cousins are going to win. I think Jordan Love is capable of putting up similar points to what they have Jake Daniels projected as to help him
Yeah.
keep his favorite projection. But I think that we just saw what Christian McCaffrey did against New Orleans. Carolina's horrible. This is the game that Bijan Robinson has probably had circled on the calendar as I'm gonna act an ass and show out. So yeah, I think that those are gonna be the two reasons why he wins this game. Who you got, Dr. Deuce?
Well, with Kirkwood, simply put, I believe McCaffrey's going to do something against Arizona's soft run defense. Kamara's going to, I think he's going to light up Seattle. And you know what? I think Jalen is going to actually do something against the Rams. And so I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be like blowout like you blew me out, but I think it's going to be close.
Okay,
But I'm just throwing it in there. I
I
say
got you.
Kirkwood.
All right, all right. We have our well, it's not our first one, but it's the first one we actually have discourse when it's not one of us actually involved. All right. Bench Burrow and Deal versus Hank with Hernandez. Dr. Deuce, who you like in this
Well, I don't like Kyler Murray because, he might want to play a video game or something. But I
Didn't they
like
just
Aaron
drop a
Rodgers
new, didn't
against
they
New
just
England.
drop a new Rainbow Six game?
Yeah, I think they did. But I like Aaron Rodgers against New England much better than I like Kyler Murray against San Francisco. And so, I mean, I think he's going to hit DK on deep a couple of times, a couple of over 40 plus. Does he not have a defense? Even without a defense, I
Let's
still
see.
think.
I mean, he's got
Oh, yeah, Minnesota's
Minnesota.
defense down there. Okay.
That's not a
Yeah.
bad. I mean, that's not a bad
No,
matchup for Minnesota's defense. I
it's
mean,
not.
still a backup, but probably a better option out there for
Yeah,
him.
but for that, I'm going to go with. Damn. If not trying to give the Raiders ideas of how to win, but if they just run the damn ball, because honestly, when we played them this past week, if they ran more, they were seeing Gentry was getting out there. Yeah, he was getting
He
hit a
was.
couple of times, but he was starting to break through.
We just got so far behind.
Yeah, that you're relying on Gino to throw it to my team,
Well,
and he didn't disappoint. And
there were
so, but
two throws that he took shot. Not he, and again, I know we just not to get too off subject, not to get too Raider Chargers with the whole thing, but I'm not mad at Gino taking the shots in because one interception was, I mean, two of the three interceptions were at the goal line. Essentially, he was taking shots at the end zone. So those throws are made better, then could be a different outcome. But I mean, for the fact of the matter is, it was a very low scoring game for two teams that have pretty put together offenses, both defenses actually came out more fired up than anything. So, but anyway,
But that
so
being said,
yeah,
Nate's getting his first win.
okay. Jared, who you like?
Yeah, I like Nate's team construction. I'm sure he enjoys having Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, being that he's a Green Bay fan. I just think that James Cook is Miami. Who has Miami stopped so far this year? I think
Themselves.
there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna go with
All right.
And he got Jamison Williams versus Baltimore. Baltimore's defense should be better, but they somehow tend to not show up for primetime games.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
Jamison Williams gets loose because he's fast and he might break some plays. I think that
it definitely can happen to Baltimore. We saw that happen to Baltimore week 1 in prime time. So I'm going to go the opposite of you, gentlemen. I think, unfortunately, Benchborough and Deal falls to 0-3. Don't really know why. Just a feeling.
Okay. Hey, sometimes you got to go with the gut, man.
And it's just a feeling. So, all right.
Are we gonna have any consensus this week?
Not yet. All right. 2 boobs, 2 balls, 1 goal versus Company Man. All right. So I'll go first on this one. We have our other winless team so far versus 1-1 Company Man. The resurgent Daniel Jones, Marvin Harrison showing up. I expect Jacoby to have a pretty good game. Connor versus San Francisco seems kind of like a wash. Harold Fannin Jr. Don't really know who that is. So if we go with your thought process that the Eagles actually get the passing game going, that means getting AJ Brown involved. Kincaid is like, again, the piss poor tight end play continues. Like, I think this is a wash. I don't think either one of them are actually going to have a decent game. This is where I think 2 boobs, 2 balls loses the game. Trayvon Henderson and Brees Hall. Backup quarterback in Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor actually can spread the ball around pretty good. He's a journeyman, but he's a journeyman. He's smart. And so I don't think they're going to be able to rely on the run game as much as they should be able to against Tampa Bay. I think that Tampa Bay is going to probably jump out to a lead, which is going to cause them to have to throw the ball more to try to keep up. So even if Josh Allen doesn't do a whole lot, I still think that he's got enough firepower. I don't think he's going to have enough firepower, even with Josh Allen back in the lineup this week, to overcome Company Man. So rolling with Company Man. Deuce?
Scroll down. I'm looking at the defenses because I think this is where the game's going to come down to. San Francisco for Arizona, Dallas for Chicago. My money's on Dallas to shut down Chicago more than San Francisco shut down Arizona. I think Connor's going to run through San Francisco personally. But so right. I'm going to go with Company Man as well.
All right. Jared?
We got that consensus because I'm going with Company Man because I don't have faith in a lot of people on 2 boobs, 2 balls, 1 goals team this week. I don't have faith in AJ Brown and they're running the ball. If I heard a stat on the radio or a podcast that says they don't even have 250 yards of passing through 2 weeks.
Jesus.
And they're 2-0. So why would they, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So they gonna keep, Man. So I just I don't like now that damn kicker get you some points.
Man. Well, I was actually, I meant to check and see what did he end up with last week. 18 last week. This boy kicked 4 field goals, including the game winner.
Yeah, so on that last part, Calvin, you're right. Jalen Hurts has only thrown for 253 total.
Yep.
Okay, I guess they do have 250 yards passing. But like I said,
right.
34 for 45 for 253. That's what most quarterbacks get in a game.
Yeah. I thought they said they didn't have 250, but maybe they said he hasn't passed for 250 in a game. Point being, we're going.
Yeah, he definitely is not.
They running the ball. It's winning games. They're keeping it fairly low scoring, and I actually texted him earlier and said, "Is this the year you let AJ Brown go because they decided they want to run the ball?" He started laughing. I'm just asking. These are questions that must be discussed.
All right, Dr. Deuce.
All
You get to
right.
pick the game against me and Ed Corn this weekend first, since
one I beat,
we
one beat me. That's interesting. Damn, Dallas versus Chicago again. Here we go. But CJ Stroud versus Jacksonville. Okay. I'm gonna see similar points there. Well, like I said, if Philly starts throwing the rock, Devontae's gonna probably get some more catches. George Pickens and Dak Prescott, I already saw what that did to me. Damn. Malik Neighbors. I don't think Malik's gonna have the game he had last week, but he's probably gonna have close. He's gonna have close though, I think, but it ain't gonna be the same.
They're gonna have to throw the ball. They're gonna have to throw the ball.
This is gonna be a close ass match right here. Scroll down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Houston and damn. And the Rams versus Philly. Okay, you know what? This might come down to that defense right there. Damn. You know what? I'm gonna say Devastator. for no other reason than I think Houston's defense against Jacks. It did. Houston's defense against Jacks is going to be a way bigger matchup for him than it's going to be the Rams versus Philly. Because you just stack 8 in the box because they're going to run the damn ball. But then but like I said, he's going to start throwing. So yeah, I'm still going to go with Devastator. So
okay. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up throwing Keenan Allen, who ended up catching a touchdown last week against the Raiders. Like, I'm surprised he actually doesn't have Keenan Allen in the lineup after the first 2 weeks.
He can trade him to me.
So, hey, that's between y'all. All right, Jared, who do you like in this matchup?
I am going to go with, you know what? I don't trust. I am far from a fan of Dak Prescott. I think he's inconsistent. Mm-hmm. But CJ Stroud is more inconsistent right now, which is disturbing. I sat and watched them play on Monday night and said, "What are y'all doing?" Like, how do y'all get in the red zone and go for it 4 times and don't score? You know what? That's
with Nick Chubb, with Nick Chubb and CJ Stroud.
You know,
I know you're not mad about that as a
I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it.
I'm sure you were quite happy with the play calling in those situations.
That's what y'all doing? Oh,
right.
Boy, I was so petty this week, but that's okay. That's a whole nother conversation. I am going to go with Devastator because I believe that Schottenheimer is going to pull up the film from that Lions game and say, we can do this.
Right.
He's like, he's going to be like Jared Goff, Dak Prescott. Yeah, they're similar. We can CD Lamb. I'm going to say, we can do this. We can put up 50 points.
Right. Well, then we have our first consensus of the week, gentlemen.
Second consensus.
Second consensus. Thank you. We have our second consensus of the week. I'm not picking against myself.
Of course.
All right. Our last matchup of the game features 2 former champs. Wait, is Adam a former champ?
No, that's his wife.
No, he's not. He's so we do have our commissioned 3-time champ against one of those of us in the league, such as Dr. Deuce and myself, who are still searching for that first Texas League championship.
Had my chance last year, not so much.
Well, I haven't even gotten to the championship game yet. So we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to take it 1 week at a time. All right. Muff Divers coming out strong so far at 2-0. Jared coming off of a win last week against his cousin. Man. All right. So this is a tough matchup. Both good quarterbacks. Both can put up points. Man, St. Brown versus Devontae Adams. Edge to St. Brown. Hooker versus CD Lamb. Edge to CD Lamb this week because of the matchup. Devon versus Amarian. Edge to Devon. Mason versus Dobbins. Oh, man.
I say edge to Dobbins because he's playing the Chargers.
Yeah,
honestly.
I was going to say edge to Dobbins because he's playing the Chargers.
My question is, why does the ed go to Dobbins when the Vikings just put their running back on IR? He now gets the bulk of the carries. And we know Cincinnati's defense ain't never been good.
That's fair also. But J.K. Dobbins also knows our defense.
I was going to say that is probably – that's why I give him the edge. is because he's facing a former team, and facing former teams gives you a little bit of extra motivation. That's a very common storyline in the NFL. Njoku seems to have a better matchup, but Tucker Kraft, let's see, how have they both done so far this
Kraft
season?
had a great game last week.
Kraft had a pretty good game last week. He had a damn
21
good game
points. Yeah,
last week.
I'd say that's pretty good.
I don't expect him to have a repeat of that, but I do expect during the
Wow,
rest.
against Cleveland, maybe.
Now, here's where both of them probably should take a look at their flex, because better backup quarterback. Probably still the best option though in the flex. Man,
I like Deebo Samuel against the Raiders. I like that matchup. Quarterback be damned. I like that matchup.
that's not a bad matchup. I will give you that. You know what? I'm not gonna pick against my co-host this week simply because he's my co-host. I'm gonna go with Team Fight Me Back because he's my co-host. And in the end, we all we got. plus, Adam losing helps me. It helps all of us. So I am going to cheer for Adam to lose this week and make this playoff race just a little bit better. No one needs Adam running off early in the season and jumping out to be 3-0. So, Jared, bring home this victory. Who you like, Deuce?
See, that's the thing. So I know me and Mr. Cowan have had many conversations over the last couple of decades. You know, his 4-4, I think the name Senior Spreadsheet came from. But it's like, you know what? Do I bet with my heart because he's my boy? Or do I bet for the statistics, which the numbers don't lie? And that's where I'm at, kind of a cross right now, because I don't like Marion Hampton in this position right now. I like his other cats that are playing within reason, but damn. How do you go against Lamar Jackson? How do you go against Devontae Adams, even though he was a stupid Raider? You know, how do you go against certain players, you know? Statistically, I mean. Statistically specific. You know, boys for life, you know that. But I'm going to have to go against the commish this week.
That's fine.
And going to give them up to Irish their damn win, even though I want them to lose too. But
all right. Well, let's just make it official, Jared. Are you picking against yourself this week?
I refuse to pick against myself this early in the season.
As Mr. Cowan always says, I will stop him from being great. It's what I do.
Well, fair enough. All right. So the picks for week 3 are in. So this week we actually do have.
I think Deuce just picked against me because I picked against him in that matchup against Meredith. That's fine.
Nah, yeah, I'm a little
petty. We would hope that the pettiness wouldn't be that high. All right. This week we do have we have a roster review request this week, courtesy of Jared. So, Jared, since the request came through you, share a little details about the requester, and then we'll give some opinions on it.
This is a dude I used to work with that I ran into in the gym. His name is Adam. We used to work at an investment company together. This is a standard league. And we did some mock drafts together the weekend because we both were having our drafts on the same weekend. And he told me his draft strategy, and the draft strategy, in my opinion, is not bad. I just don't, without seeing the draft, I don't know who he passed up on and who he.
Can you elaborate a little bit on anything on what the strategy was?
The strategy, because I used it in a draft, your first 8 to 9 picks are running back and wide receiver. You basically punt on you basically punt on quarterback and tight end until you get to the double-digit rounds, like 9, 10, maybe 9th round. So ETN, Brown, Higgins, Odunze, Derrick Henry, Chuba Hubbard, a lot of those dudes, probably Cortland Sutton, McMillan, probably all of them were drafted before he even picked up Bo Nix, Jake Ferguson. And then, you add in some upside players, as he calls them, Thornton, Cedric Tillman.
Is this a keeper league of any sort?
It is not. It's a redraft league.
Okay. Well, then that's a couple of these picks seem a little bit confusing to me then. Like the Raiders rookie wide receiver seems a little bit of a reach, but okay. Um, I'm gonna let you go first, Dr. Deuce.
So, I mean, I'd probably start Chuba Hubbard, honestly, against Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
but then I would take out Chase Brown.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's probably what I would do looking at what I'm looking at. Honestly, I'd probably put in Cortland Sutton over the Chicago receiver.
Adunze.
Yeah,
He's been
I
having a
don't
good
like that
season
matchup
so
against
far, though.
Dallas. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, so he's having a good season so far, but I agree with you on that.
Why do you not like the matchup against Dallas? That secondary is
Because I think it's a better
suspect.
matchup for Cortland Sutton against the Chargers than it is for the matchup against Dallas. Our secondary is softer than Dallas's secondary currently.
Hmm. Dallas
But
secondary
well,
is banged up.
No, but we
but
also
he,
lost Khalil Mack, so we're
but
going to
you
have to
but
move.
but the Chargers front four, they have a rotation. Like, yes, you cannot replace a Khalil Mack and everything he brings to that, but they do a lot of zone blitzing, and Chargers still get a lot of pressure, and with a young QB, that's still going to Caleb's still a young QB. And he can still be flustered, as we've seen through the first couple of weeks. Even though, Chicago hasn't turned it into victories yet, and they've put up some points. But man,
My only thing is when he gets flustered, he looking for Rome. I th-
true.
I'm about to look this up because I think he might have 4 passing touchdowns this year, and 3 of them went to Rome. When in doubt, he just gonna throw it to Rome.
So I would also put Cortland Sutton in. Um, but despite what the computer rankings are showing, I would actually replace T. Higgins. Even though he had a good game last week,
Rome has all three of his touchdowns,
he
Yeah,
has 3 passing time. Yeah.
3 passing.
all 3 of them to
All of
him.
them wrong.
And I
So
and again, I get keeping Rome because they're gonna have to throw the ball. I think that Dallas is gonna put up points, which means they're gonna, in order to counteract it, Chicago's gonna have to put up points, and that's gonna have to come through the air. I would actually start Cortland because my whole thing is, what's the point of drafting a stack if you don't use it? Like that's the point of it, you know. So, and it's not just a stack; it's the wide receiver one. Like you've got the starting QB wide receiver one
yeah.
stack. Got to roll with that for the potential. Like, and Cortland will actually put up points this week against the Chargers. So
Yeah.
Well,
that's
another thing I
that's
don't like about Chase is he only has 90 yards total, even though he's their number one back. 90
yes.
yards after 2 games?
So I
No
agree with
touchdown.
that. I think that what you end up doing is you take out Chase Brown, you move Derrick Henry to that running back, and you put Cortland Sutton in
Yeah.
that wide receiver spot. And then you have a decision to make on either if you want to move T or Rome to the flex spot. But I think this is even though are running back heavy in your roster, I think this is the week where you lean on your wide receivers to carry your team. I like Chuba, however you want to pronounce his name, but I do not like him over putting in one of the other wide receivers this week. So if this was my roster, I'd roll with Cortland, Chase. I'm sorry, Cortland, T. Higgins, and Rome in the flex. And this is the week that Chase Brown sits. Now we could be wrong, right?
Yeah.
Chase Brown may end up having a better game than we expected. But if I'm looking at this and I'm playing the most likely scenarios out, I think that I would roll my wide receivers this week if I was him. All right. Any last thoughts on this, gentleman?
Nope.
All right. So we'll see what he does and wish him good luck. All right. So those are our picks for the week. Let's see here. And as you know, we always also like to talk about what are some of the games that you're looking forward to this weekend for week 3 in the NFL.
I think for me, Vikings Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what
Battle of the backups.
yeah, see what happens. Battle of second string.
Right. All right. What about you, Jared?
I'm gonna go with what I think is gonna be a high scoring game on Monday Night Football
Right.
between Detroit and Baltimore. I'm like, it
Shootout.
seems like it's gonna be a shootout, which is always good for fantasy.
I agree with you. Um, this is going to sound very weird coming from a Raiders fan. I am actually looking forward to the Broncos Chargers game. Chargers are starting off their season with 3 straight division games. If they can somehow
Yeah.
take all 3 of their first division games this year, that puts them in a really good position to take the divisional crown away that Kansas City's had for what now going on 6 years in a row, or something like that, 6, 7 years in a row.
Yeah.
So again, I can be impartial when I need to. So I'm going to take my Raiders hat off and just
Leave
look
it
at this
off.
from the standpoint of, oh no, it definitely it's branded on my heart, so I can take the hat off anytime I want. Uh, so I'm going to take the hat off and leave my heart on. But just looking at this from a standpoint of, you know, is this the year that the Chiefs' run of AFC West titles comes to an end? And if the Chargers want to, the Chargers can go a long way on breaking that streak by going 3-0 in their first 3 games, which also means that they've gone 3-0 in the division so far.
Yeah. Fair point.
All right.
I'll get you a Chargers hat for Christmas.
Yeah. I always need something for the dog to poop on, so send it away. Matter of fact, if you send me a Chargers hat for Christmas, I'm going to borrow a dog just to let the dog poop on it.
Damn, all right. I didn't know it was like that, but
And
trust me, I get it. I
I'm
respect
gonna
that.
borrow a dog and name the dog Triumph just for the day. All right. So best of luck to you this weekend in your fantasy matchups. As I always like to say, good luck to you as long as your team isn't facing mine, as long as your fantasy team isn't facing mine, which we're not facing each other this weekend. Good luck to you. And until next week, peace.